The following preview has been approved for appropriate audiences by the Motion Pictures Association of America, Inc. I live in a coffee store. You should see my blog. My Tumblr is so lit. Starbucks. Memes. Millennials. Relatable. Okay, what? No. Okay, let's start this over, shall we?
Yeah, you gotta look down, that's the thing.
Hey, CULT320. Thank you for joining us this evening, and welcome to our little presentation on climate change and globalization. We're doing something about resources, I think. Yeah. So, my name's Jeremy. Today we're lucky to have a guest speaker today. His name's Connor. He's our world expert on reading things I wrote for this video project.
Well, I'm happy to be here with you, Jeremy.
So we're going to split this video up into probably two segments. First we'll be talking about the political debate that is global climate change, and secondly we'll be talking about why we aren't really seeing the environmental changes in our industry that a lot of environmentalists are arguing for these days. So let's get started, shall we? So about this discussion, the academic community and pretty much every environmental protection and weather monitoring organization agrees that the Earth is heating up. This infographic here, provided by the climate.nasa.gov, shows the positive trend in average global temperature over the past 137 years, and it even shows the agencies gathering this information. We see here NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies, Hadley Center Climate Research Unit, NOAA, or the National Center for Environmental Information, that's U.S. government right there, and the Japanese Meteorology Agency, all showing this positive trend. Now, I get what this looks like. Doom and gloom, all hope is lost, and that's the kind of thing our academic community is actually starting to critique in the field of environmental science. If you go by our class readings this week by Mike Davis and his article, Who Will Build the Ark?, he describes what he calls a pessimism of the intellect. Smart people get mad. Go figure. I mean, they had some reason to be worried. The Stratigraphy Commission of the Geological Society of London, founded in 1807, unanimously hypothesized that, quote, the Holocene epoch, the interglacial span of unusually stable climate that allowed the rapid evolution of agriculture and urban civilization, has ended, and that Earth has now entered a stratigraphic interval without close parallel in the last several million years. In layman's terms, Earth's free security trial ended a while ago, and if we're not careful, we're going to destroy the world with our unbridled need to download viruses on our planet in hopes of free stuff. The problem with this worried reaction is that we are not seeing the end of the world yet. We haven't seen any water wars yet. I can still buy my 2% milk for $3.50 a gallon down at the supermarket. I can still get my gasoline for $3.50 a gallon down at the gas station, as long as I'm not, like, in DC or anything. And when people like business owners see environmental regulation and doomsayers talking about global warming and climate change, they're going to dig their heels in. It's not very economic for, like, a big oil company to try switching all of its assets to solar panel. They're pretty much just going to go under, because we already have solar power industries. And we know what direction we want to go in, but at this very moment, there is just enough for them to hold on to argue against the environmental regulations that we want. And that's not really the message that we're seeing in the mainstream media. A lot of our movies, we just see Donald Trump cutting down all the truffula trees, and the Lorax got cheated out of being president, so now we're all going to die of global warming. At least that's the message that we're seeing, but it's not what we see when we actually go outside every day. And that's kind of where we're having this discussion and why this is still a debate, even though mathematically and scientifically it really shouldn't be a debate at all.
But Jeremy, what does this have to do with globalization?
Well, I think it's time we get into that in part 2.
What we do here is go back.
Alright, so we know scientifically there is a problem. We know some groups are going to wait it out as long as they possibly can, and we know that we also have a way of talking to one another in the international community. IGOs, like the UN, have been talking about climate change with members of the UN. And this whole issue of a few business owners, not being affected or not being affected enough, this also applies to countries that we're trying to talk to here in the UN. Now we have this thing called the tragedy of the commons. And if it's in a country's best interest to pump CO2 into the atmosphere, they're going to do just that. We have ways of sanctioning against these practices here in our country, but the UN is not going to be able to put force behind those goals when it goes to a country like, say, Pakistan, or India, or China, or any other major producer of CO2, especially when major consumers like the United States are the reasons why they are producing in the fashion that they are right now anyway. It's just, it looks like, to conclude with what we're seeing right now, this isn't the highest priority for a lot of countries now, but this is also the time to be fixing these problems before it becomes something that we can't fix in the future. And I think that it's kind of a human issue, that we're in this loop of trying to preserve ourselves and survive in the best way possible. But to do that temporarily, we're going to have to set certain things aside, or we're going to have to slow down to give us an option or give us more options in the future.
Yeah, I feel like right now this could be a problem that could be fixed relatively easy right now. It's only going to get more difficult.
Yeah. And that's really the main purpose of this video and why we're making this video the way we are. I know it's fun to joke and make memes, and really a lot of the populations that are going to deal with these problems are the ones that understand those memes and those jokes. And maybe that's kind of the big problem here, is the fact that it's not even just a tragedy of what countries and what businesses aren't affected, but it's which generations of people aren't even affected by this issue. As much as I myself care about global warming, I myself may not even see the full impact of some of the damages that we have caused to our environment in the past 20 years, the past 50 years, the past 187 years. So, with that said, my advice is to look at the big picture, and for us as a larger group of people in a diverse setting, to be able to see everybody here in this community and think, what is it that's going to help this group? Because in the long run, that's what's going to help me too. So for those of you that actually bothered to show up today, thank you very much for watching our presentation within a presentation. We had a lot of fun making it, but Connor's got to go home, and I think that we've probably gone past our limit for how long our videos can even be in this presentation. So again, CULT320, thank you very much. We hope you have a great night, and Connor, any closing words?
Nah.
All right, let's do this.